Okay.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Book Talk. Happy New Year. It's the first one of the year and we have with us the one and only Sandhya Rao. For those of you who are familiar with children's literature and of course with Tulika books, I think Sandhya Rao is, synonymous in so many ways, with Tulika. So thank you so much for being here, Sandhya. First off, just a quick introduction about you for those who may not, but I think everyone does know you here. She is one of the most celebrated children's writers in India. She is a journalist with The Hindu as well, but I think her books are really what stand out, and she is better known as the children's author. So she's known for books like My Friend the Sea, which won the Ambitious Children's Book Project Award at the Berlin Children and Youth Literature Festival. My Mother's Sari was chosen as an outstanding international book in 2007 by USBBY, which is the United States Board for Books for Young People. And of course, in 1996, she joined our founder and publishing director, Radhika Menon, to create multilingual books for children with Tulika. So yeah, thank you so much for being here, Sandhya. I'm excited to talk to you.
My pleasure.
So first off, Sandhya, I want to ask you is what really drew you into children's writing?
Well, I have to admit that it wasn't some great burning ambition to write for children. It was more, Radhika and I would often look at children's books. Her children was young at the time, and she would share a lot of the books she bought for them, and I would look at some books in bookshops and enjoy them. And at the time, there were mostly books published abroad. So we always thought, we need to have books like these. And it was actually Radhika's dream to start a publishing company. When she finally called me while I was working in Frontline one afternoon and said, listen, I have a little money, so will you? And I had no hesitation to say, I will. But having said I will, and having found a little space to set up the office, without books you can't have you can't run a publishing company, right? So like circumstances dictated that I get going right away. And of course, before that, Radhika had already put together two or three books. She herself had done Line and Circle, and there were a couple of others, but we needed to create more titles. So it's a very, very prosaic story, I'm afraid.
But I think it's a great start because I think you've gone on to write over, I think, about 30 books or more, if I'm not mistaken.
Need of the hour, shall we say?
Yeah, and in fact, I have your very first book right here, which is Ekki Dokki. This is the first one by Sandhya Rao.
Yeah, I had actually, just before Radhika started Tulika, for her birthday, she was talking about doing books for children. So I had actually, this is a story my grandmother told us in our family. This is the only story my paternal grandmother told everybody in the family, okay? So I kind of had written it down, but changed it just a little bit here and there. Drew some pictures, cut out triangles, stuck black thread, and created a little book and gave it as a gift to Radhika on her birthday, saying, I hope, you're able to get started with the book publishing. So that's the story behind Ekki Dokki. The original title was Ek Case Wali, Don Case Wali, which is a Marathi. Ek Case Wali, Don Case Wali in Marathi means the girl with one hair, the girl with two hairs. But it's too much of a mouthful, so I shortened that to Ekki Dokki. So
it's a very sweet book. Yeah, it's a very, very cute book. And from there to your latest book also with Tulika, which is again Jump Right In, which also has, I think, the covers of multiple books you've worked on, as you can see. So from Ekki Dokki to this, what has your writing journey been like? How have you changed as a writer?
I don't know if I have changed, because every time I write something, I work on something, I feel, oh God, am I am I capable of doing this? Am I doing a disservice? I mean, I think I started out with greater confidence in the beginning than I do now, than the confidence I have now. Because as you go along, you realize there's so much more to do, to learn, to change, to improve, to discard, along the journey. So that is something, I guess I'm just made like that. I think like that about a lot of things. But I think I have also grown to be more objectively critical about what I write. And this
Okay.
goes for all writing, not just for children, but any article. I'm also, I've been an active mainstream journalist for most of my working life. And I do some freelance work now. And that has helped me, in a sense, distance myself from what I write. And also, the big learning has been that uh, that people write for different reasons. The big learning has been that for me, what is important is communicating what I'm trying to say, what I feel, what I experience, what I want to share. So trying to find the best way of doing that without being overly self-indulgent, shall we say?
Yeah. Yeah. As they say, we need to kill our darlings sometimes in the writing process. But no, that's amazing. And I think that's such an important quality for any writer to have, to be able to be objective, right? And I think it's great that that's something you were really able to kind of learn for yourself as a writer. You've also worked on fiction and non-fiction. Usually you see writers work on either or, but you don't, it's not often that you see writers working in both, and you have worked on both. How similar or different have your approaches been, for each genre? And do you enjoy working in one more than the other?
Well, for me, I enjoy all kinds of writing. I enjoy engaging in all kinds of writing. So I wouldn't be able to tell you that I like this one better than that. And I find it equally agonizing. The writing process, I find equally agonizing, whatever it may be. So yeah, so very often I'll write something I think is brilliant, and at night, and I'll sleep over it, wake up in the morning, and earlier I used to have to tear sheets of paper. Now I just have to highlight everything and delete, and it's all gone, and start afresh. The approach, uh, in a sense, is much the same, which is to be true to the trust or the heart or the spirit of that piece of writing. And I think I have to say that a lot of my fiction somewhere derives from experience, real life. So, I mean, although it may come across as being fiction, it is in a sense non-fiction as well.
Yeah.
Of course, when you're working on non-fiction directly, you have to do a lot of research. But that holds good for fiction as well. I mean, unless you know you have to study your subject, whatever it may be. When you're a child, you can just give into these, wild imagination, create whatever you want and whatever scenario you want,
Yeah.
whatever, and make your characters do whatever they want. But they all have to hold together. There has to be an integrity within the text.
Yeah.
So whether it's fiction or non-fiction, there has to be that integrity. There has to be that allegiance to truth, however you may view
Yeah.
it. So I I would approach any piece of writing like that. Whether I'm writing about, whether I'm doing a review, or whether I'm creating a story out of my imagination, or whether I'm writing about a moment in history. It all eventually boils down to the same thing.
But that's really interesting, and to hear that it is pretty much in a way similar, and kind of sticking to, I guess, the authenticity of the narrative you're trying to sort of tell. But I don't know, I think for me, I have a lot more fun with fiction because you can just play around in whatever way. Of course, it needs to make some sense by the end of the day for sure. But yeah, I think
the challenges are I mean, they're both equally challenging. In fiction, yeah, the challenge is to make your reader believe in what you're whipping up, you know.
That's true.
And in non-fiction, the challenge is to make your reader believe in what you are whipping up, right?
Yeah.
But with actual facts, and here with facts that people your imagination. So
that is
yeah.
true. Yeah, for sure. I think it's the way you present the facts also in non-fiction that makes it so compelling, for sure. But I'm sure people also reach out to you regarding, because since you've done so many books, I'm sure people do reach out to you and tell you what they think about your work and your writing and, the books you've written for children. What have been some of the most memorable things people have said to you about your writing or any of your books?
To be very honest, yeah, there have been some people who've sort of talked about it, but to be honest, it embarrasses me, so I kind of quickly changed the topic. So I don't know. I find it uncomfortable to talk about the books or the process. But there is one thing that someone told me this was in Germany about My Friend the Sea, which has been translated into German. And this at a dinner, this woman told me that her niece, who was about 12 or 13, had read the book. And she said her niece told her that, typical teenage angst type of thing, and she was dealing with various stuff. She told her that after reading this book, she sort of understood a few things, and she was able to find answers to certain things. I'm not exactly sure what or how, but I thought if in some way something like a book can touch you or change you or mean something to you in this way, then that is something precious, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
I know I'm basically a reader first, and I know how certain books kind of make me feel, how they speak to me, so I can understand it, and that is always something special.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think for anyone to come and say that your writing made them feel a certain way or look at something differently, it is a very special feeling.
But really, it is not. I mean, I really feel it's not so much the book itself. It's a combination of the person reading the book and what that text is saying. I mean, it's a coming together at that moment in time, So, yeah, it's the baggage you come with, the experiences you come with, the expectations you come with, and what reading something can do for you.
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of the written word, because anyone can interpret it in any way. And that's, I think, amazing. But you're a teacher, you've conducted, writing workshops and at various book launches and whatnot. You've also done reading sessions. As you said, you are a reader first. So, while conducting these sessions, what are some of maybe your favorite stories you like to sort of present to, children or audiences?
I don't really have favorite stories like that. It just depends upon what the participants or the kids are in the mood for, and I don't know. So I can't really. It's not like I choose certain text, though certain texts lend themselves to being shared more easily than certain other texts. Especially if it's a large group. So then a complicated story with a very complicated plot line isn't going to go down well, right? So but an interactive story or an interactive example will be more effective at that moment, because kids and adults have very short attention spans, you see. So then you have to also keep that in mind. I'm not a storyteller, so I can't hold them with my storytelling techniques and all of that. I read, and children have to be in the mood for a certain thing. So when you have to sort of, when you're doing a workshop, you have to gauge the mood. Sometimes they're ready to listen to a certain kind of thing, a quiet kind of story. Sometimes they're ready to listen to an excerpt. Sometimes they're ready to clap hands and sing, sing along with you or whatever. So it all depends. So I don't really have any set stories or set pieces. But I do share a lot of things, experiences that I may have had, and I invite them to share their experiences as well.
Okay.
So there's a lot of that happens. Yes.
Oh, so that's really interesting. So then that's more an exchange of real life stories and
Yeah.
experiences,
Yeah.
which is lovely. So finally, to end, what I want to ask you, and bringing back, jump right in. As I mentioned, you do conduct a lot of writing workshops, and this is an activity book for children to learn more about creative writing. What are ways in which you think that creativity can be effectively taught to children?
Well, first of all, I think you have to let children be. I don't think creativity in that sense can be taught. You know, you have to just give them time and space and just let them do some things, anything. It could be just pottering around, just pottering around, doing whatever. And but when we try to organize their time into various activities, I find that this whole business of activity is a little scary
Oh,
because because I think you need, like for me, like sometimes I think best when I'm lying flat on my back. So
okay.
sometimes I'll just lie in bed like that, and with my eyes shut. I won't be sleeping. People might think I'm sleeping. I'm not. I'm thinking. So it's only when we are given the time and space to think that we can engage in something creative. And that could be with the mind, with the hands, with the feet, with anything, you
Yeah.
know. So, yeah, n- not, it's not a question of teaching creativity. It's a question of helping people think.
Creatively. Yeah.
And that leads to creativity
Yeah.
of any
Okay.
kind.
I really like that.
Allowing people time to think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think in
what I
today's
say.
day and age, we have enough distractions to keep us from
I think
thinking.
it's time to slow down. I think we need to all slow down a little bit, And what are we all rushing towards? I mean, uh, the world is not. We know the world is not going to end tomorrow. So live each moment. Take your time over whatever. And don't be bogged down by 4 to 4:30. I have to do this 4:45 to 6:15. I have that kind of. Don't be bogged down. Be kind to yourself, and and indulge in giving time to the mind to think and to do things that you really like to do, and not do them because you don't have the time, because time we have.
Yeah,
Inclination is what we
that is
need to
true.
be attended to. To quote HMT's famous advertisement.
Yeah. No, but that's very true. And on that beautiful and enlightening note, we have now come to the end of this session. Thank you so much for being here, Sandhya. It was absolutely lovely talking to you. I'm so glad we could do this.
Thank you, thank you. Though I keep saying, I mean, I'm 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 the past now, So you need to talk to all young people, because the world is teeming with young people with lovely ideas and lovely books that are coming out all the
But
time.
you are the origin story. You are very much a part of the Tulika origin story, and you will always be a part of our story.
Thank you. I'm touched. Thank you. Thanks,
Thank,
Sangeeta. Take care.
thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning
Bye.
in.